You are now tuned into Discussions with Dina.
Welcome to another Friday Night Live with Discussions with Dina. I am your host, Dina. You are listening to Discussions with Dina. Now, on this Friday Night Live, we are going to discuss black politicians and the black vote. Does our vote count? And where are our tangibles? When I say our, I am referring to black people here in America. And what tangibles are we seeking and should we be seeking? And these are all good questions that we should at least examine tonight. So go ahead and join in the discussion. If you would like to, press the like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, at this point in my existence, I am completely saturated, disgusted, and just sick of all of these campaign ads. I have seen enough of these political campaign ads to last me a lifetime. When I tell you I'm sick, I cannot explain it enough. The TV is overwhelmed with political ads from politicians. It's ridiculous how these people bombard the airways, the networks, the mailbox, the TV, social media with these nonsense ads. It's a pure waste of money, in my opinion. Money that could be used to actually help people. Funds that could be used for affordable housing. And do you hear the money that they raise and that the government give them to waste on this political crap? I mean, imagine the health care that they could pay for with all of these millions of dollars that they waste and just use to bombard people with pure nonsense. And you and I both know you've already made your choice in your mind who it is that you're going to vote for. And imagine what you could do for those who are of less fortune than others. How you could help them with these wasted dollars. It's just too much and too freaking wasteful. I think whoever came up with that whole political process should be forced to sit in a 4x4 room and watch all of these ridiculous political ads all day and all night for at least a week. I'm just sick of it. And we know for certain that this is not going to change anybody's mind because you've already made up your mind who you want and why you want. We already know this. So this, to me, at this point, is just stupid political ads that are pointless. Some of these ads are just so downright rotten these days. I don't even know if it's fair to call them political ads. They're just throwing dirt at one another. For example, somebody might say, my opponent, Danny, let his dogs eat 20 hot dogs in one sitting and caused him stomach pain. I only let my dog eat 2 hot dogs, so vote for me. I will give your dog safe, and I will keep it safe, and I will put it in a kennel because I own a kennel. I mean, that is just how ridiculous it has gotten now. Every day now, I simply go to my mailbox, and when I pull out the mail, it is full of trash, political trash. And I take it and I put it all in the trash can. I do not read it. Once I realize what it is, in the trash it goes. It has become a nuisance at this point, and I am ready for this whole crap debacle to just end. And another reason is because it seems none of the politicians today are actually speaking to our concerns. But the question is, what are our real issues and concerns as black people? What will make a difference in the life of a black person like myself or you? It is sad, but they have put us in a position of doing nothing for us. Till we expect nothing from the politicians that say that they're fighting on our behalf. And we demand nothing from them. We're just at a point where it seems that we're perfectly happy with zero. But we are still saying vote, go vote, go vote. For what? Do we know what it is that we need, what we should be asking for? Democrat, Republican, what are you offering me? What are you offering us? What are you offering Black America that would make me vote for either of you? Either Democrat or Republican, because I do not claim either. They have lumped us in with other groups, and our needs are always unmet. They go unmet. So we do not even identify what we want anymore. And our Black politicians fight for the needs and wants of other groups. And that is a big problem. And we don't like to discuss it, but it's a fact. Isn't it time we sorted out our needs and made it simple and plain and clear what our demands are and what we expect from politicians that are speaking on our behalf, that want our vote? Here is what it is that you need to be talking about or bringing us. We need to make that clear. My thing on my list is reparations. And I really don't care how anyone else feel about that. And reparations does include money, land, relief, resources, relief from paying taxes, compensation for what our people, our ancestors did, building this country without any compensation. And no one is talking about delivering on this issue. So I see no real need to give my vote away frivolously. You want my vote? This is what I need you to be speaking on. Peace, Third Ward. How are you tonight? I am so glad you could join me. It's good to see you. But these are just some of the things that are of importance to me that I wanted to mention tonight. Now, I do not tell anyone else to vote or not to vote. That is your choice and it is your decision. But personally, I have not met a candidate as of yet that speaks to matters of concern to me and mine. In fact, I barely or rarely even hear candidates speaking honestly to any Black issues at all, or even Black needs these days. I mean, specifics. Speaking about abortion and speaking about criminal law, that's not exclusive to the Black community. And it's not important as to say this would take care of all of the issues that are of concern to us in our communities. It is almost insulting to think that it is. I want real exclusive resources or benefits for me and mine. I think we should have them political candidates speak to pay inequality for Black people, because there's a difference in what I am paid versus what is the white counterpart. And usually the Black people have more education because they require more of us or more skills. Then there's an issue of home affordability as well as homelessness, and how high it is among the Black population today. And one of the issues that we don't like to discuss for this, and is behind much of this, is because immigration, the people that are being brought in, and it's such a huge number. It's like over 2.5 million just in the last few months of this year that have came across the border. And they are using many of these resources. They're eating up these resources that Black people would normally have had access to. And they're given free legal assistance, free housing, free food, transportation, medical, and education is given to them free of charge, even though they are non citizens. So if non citizens were to ask for aid with this stuff, we are denied that, are considered to be bums or lazy or told to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. So this is a hypocrisy that is part of the issue that I am talking about. We'll fight for this immigration, but what is the real cost to us, to the citizens, for immigration? What else could this be paying for that could be beneficial to citizens, because we all pay taxes and we should be able to tap into those resources when we need to. Now, if the cost of living is high today, imagine the effect on those of us in the Black community that we're already paid. The pay rate is uneven usually with us, and then the college expenses, because people are trying to better themselves, but the fees are completely outrageous. There should be a political conversation about offering free college education. Yes, I said it, it should be free. And we have a lot of institutions, but how many are actually Black educational institutions that we control with accurate historical data about our people that we actually educate? We need to have control of this in our communities. In a nutshell, I want real tangibles as a part of the monetary reparations that we should be asking for. And I don't want to see Black politicians running from the issue of reparations, or white politicians for that matter, dodging this issue either. Now, we can properly utilize reparations, and it could solve a multitude of problems that face the Black community as a result of the neglect and discrimination that we have faced under white so called domination, because they have withheld resources from our community. Now, when we talk about reparations, people always have this issue with cash. Yes, we need cash payments too. I am okay with the land and other resources, but there must be a requirement of cash payments as well. We are still the only people that have never ever been compensated. And just imagine what we could have built with the proper resources that come with reparations, because we know when we go apply for bank loans, often we are not given reasonable rates oftentimes if you get a loan. And we have to be able to control some of these resources, have the funding so that we can open our own banks and that we can open businesses. We can give loans or offer grants to people to help build our community. As I've said before, we'll call it a Black community, and there won't even be a Black business there. Oftentimes, it's Indians, Arabs, Mexicans, and they'll call that the Black community. The Black community should be represented by Black businesses. And I do think if we were given access to the same things that white people have customarily been given access to, we could have a level playing field. The playing field is not level. So tonight I have a special guest here that will be speaking with me on some of these issues. And his name is Brother B Unity 411. And I want to welcome him to the show and thank you for joining me tonight and helping to speak on these issues of concern to me.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. I've been itching to get on your show.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I wanted to speak about this political arena that we're seeing, and I wanted to get your perspective on the Black politicians today. Do you think that the Black politicians that are out here today are speaking on Black issues or things that concern the Black community?
I think they are speaking on issues that concerns the powers that be. Okay, there's only a let me say it like this. There are certain things that the power that be will allow. Okay. And if they really spoke on the real issues that would benefit black people and black people issues, I think they wouldn't even be in the position that they're in. So to answer your question real quickly, no, I don't think they're speaking to the black issues.
Okay. And what are some issues? I know reparations is one of them, but what would be one of our concerns that you think would be important and beneficial to black people? What would you say?
One of the most important is real, not sufficient, but real education for black people. Real live education. At one point in this country, you had white America and you had black America. Black America right now is like 12 to 13%. Now you got the Asians, you got the Latinos, and you got the Asians. Economically, blacks being only second to whites in this country is now lower than the Latinos as far as economics. One of the reasons we're lower, well, that's just one of the reasons we're lower in economics in this country than the Latinos is based on education and mindset. So those are just some of the issues that we've got to get corrected, and I don't think the politicians are ready to take on those issues.
Okay, when you say education, can you be a little bit more specific? Do you mean going to an institution, or are you talking about self knowledge, or can you be just a little bit more specific?
Yes, I said true education. Okay, education is a Latin word called educo. It means to bring out from within. Now, if we use the word educo and we bring out from within what's in black people, what is stored up inside black people is their own essence. And they have to learn from that. Not this education system that white America has put out here. They have to have a true education that's going to speak to them specifically. Okay? This educational system that they're under right now speaks directly to white America. They don't see themselves in this education. They can't benefit from this education because they're not in this educational system. They're not in the books. They only go back to what, 1619? And their history go way back. Their history is well over 66 trillion years old. But they're not being taught that. And anybody that don't know themselves can't help themselves.
I agree. So, on the topic of reparations, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's something that could be beneficial and should be a part of the political agenda when it comes to black people?
Yeah, I do think it should be a part of the political agenda. But I don't think politically it's going to be the only avenue that we're going to achieve reparations. You know, they say freedom's not free. And we've been fighting ever since we've been over here. I think we're going to have to take a different avenue in order to receive our reparations. Now, I do believe we're going to receive our reparations, but I don't think that it's going to come in the form that we may want it to come. You know, reparation is to repair and to set up, to make, it's almost like insurance, to set you up to where you were before you was destroyed, or even better. Japan was paid reparations when they was born. The Jews were paid reparations by what happened to them in the 1940s. But blacks who built this country, and you've heard a lot of politicians talk about this, but they stopped. They stopped just before we talk about a solution. We talk about distributing. We talk about land. We talk about you know material things like farmland, hospitals, schools, educational systems, real educational systems. And I did talk about distribution of monetary tangibles. That's going to have to take. They stop short of that, as if they just want to make a showing to say, well, we tried. But I believe that the way we're going to have to obtain our reparation is you're going to have unity amongst the people that need to receive reparation, because it comes a point in time that there's a time limit. You can only ask for so long. You can only beg for so long. The justice is going to have to take place. And what does justice look like? Well, I don't want to say right now, but sometimes you have to do something a little strange to get your change. And I don't mean in the way you think I mean. Freedom's not free.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes to attain freedom, take bloodshed. In order for this man to steal this country, it took bloodshed.
It did.
Everywhere he go is bloodshed, but he considered himself to be free today. Those were the methods that he used to obtain what he wanted. So we will get reparations, whether he want to give them or not, because it was one of their presidents. I think it was Andrew Jackson, and President, I forget which one it was, but he said he feared that God justice doesn't sleep forever. And these people over here that we call African Americans, black people, Afro Americans, whatever you want to call them, they have been done wrong. And I do believe, and I know that God justice was not sleep for long. And they will be made whole. So they can either give it willingly or unwillingly, but it will be given.
I agree. Now, the unity. What do you say to those Caucasians who feel that they are not guilty of anything because the slaves are no longer here? What do you say to those people that don't feel like black people should get reparations because there aren't any slaves? They love to say that.
Now, I like to call those type of people surface dwellers. They base their ideas, their ideologies on what they see. Okay, but the real architects of this thing, you don't see them. It's like black folks need education. White folks also need proper education. They've been lied to, and they drink the Kool-Aid. Some blacks are given entitlements. Some blacks, and they're put forth. Once they're given their entitlements, they're put forth in front of the American people. And the American public said, look what we did. And then you have some whites that are struggling, that can barely make it. Economically, they're struggling. You have some whites that are struggling. And you mix that together where the whites that are struggling, the few whites that are struggling, and you mix it together, the entitled blacks, and you put that in front of the American public, and it kind of balance itself out. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. That's what I call surface dwelling. You only going by what you see. But in America, mentally and spiritually, which I believe that is the most devastating form of slavery, most devastating form of inhumanity, is that you have people over here that do not know how to go for self and do not even want to go for self. Now, a human being is born, when they're born, I believe, a human being is born independent and they want to be free. Babies want to be free. You know, if you try and hold a baby once they get to walking and you try and hold them back, they'll snatch away from you. They want to be free. But we as African Americans, we want to be a part of this system that's keeping us down. Now, why would somebody want to crawl and be a part of a system that's keeping them down? It's a mental thing, you know. Sometimes this culture can make you think that right is wrong and wrong is right. So what I say about white people that think that they haven't done anything wrong is that they have been miseducated just as well as the blacks has been miseducated. Because there is a number of whites. You know, you ever heard of the 1%, the 5%, the 85%, and the 1%? There's a certain group of whites that they have to dumb down. They have to dumb them down. And those are the ones that they put in the public, and the blacks that receive certain entitlements and the ones that kind of break through and achieve certain certain achievements they have shown, and it looks like everything is kind of balanced out. In all actuality, it's not. Blacks are still on the bottom of the totem pole economically. So I would say that white folks themselves need to be educated. True education.
Re-educated.
Yeah, re-education and true education.
So, what do you think reparations would actually look like for Black people here in America? What would be a part of reparation? What would it include? What should it include?
Well, reparation should most definitely, number one, include land. You got to have land. If you give the money to a person that don't understand how money works, if you give money to a person that in a sense, because they did earn it, that didn't earn it. You know, money come in quickly, money leaves quickly. You know, it's almost like if they give it to us just in monetary, if they give it to us just in money, it's almost like they got an elastic band on it. As soon as they give it to us, we don't own the car lots, we don't own the factories, We don't own the farmlands. We don't own the stores. We don't own all the basic necessities that we need as a people. So once we get that money is going back into the pockets of the same people we just got the money from. So the first thing you gotta have is you gotta have land. Once you have land, with land come up out of the ground is food. The resources coming up out of the ground is schools. You got timber on the land. You got houses. We want to be close to the ocean. That's trade. To where we're totally self-sufficient. There's a lot of other avenues that we. There's a lot of other things that we need, but those are just some of the things that we need in order to be.
As you can hear, I am having some technical difficulties. So I will have to upload this particular show. But Third Ward, I'm not sure if you're still in here or not, but I understand that you all will be putting on costumes tomorrow. Is that so? I think that would be very interesting to see. What is tomorrow? Is it I think it's the 29th. So you all are getting ready quite early. So I'm looking forward to checking it out on your channel. Third Ward Colombian. But once again, let me thank you for listening. I am having technical issues, as you may already hear, and I will upload this particular video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Discussions with Dina.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share.